Is Byrum Brown a top 10 quarterback in the country? ESPN seems to think so.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to get after it. And I apologize. We are not live today. Going to a father-son breakfast at my son's school this morning, so had to get a little pre-record action, but I fired up. You guys are in the chat right now, and I hope you guys have a great morning because today is the 500th episode of the Top Button Podcast. It's just wild to think about. We're going to talk about that, a little show history. We're going to talk about Byrum Brown being a top 10 preseason quarterback, and we're going to do everyone's favorite segment, JackArse of the week. Let's go ahead and jump into it, though. We'll do the podcast stuff later, but I want to talk about this because it sort of validates what we talked about yesterday about Byrum Brown possibly being one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And it's like ESPN listened to the show and said, you know what? They're talking about it on the Top Button Podcast. Let's actually put out a list and let's rank it. So Bill Connolly from ESPN, who I've always said is one of the smartest men in college football, puts out his top 10 list, and I'm going to share it with you here in just a second. If I can find the graphic, I am completely losing it. Here we go. Boom. There it is. Preseason top 10 quarterbacks. They got Byrum Brown right there. Number 10. First off, that's awesome to be thinking about a quarterback, having an Auburn quarterback in the top 10 conversation in the whole country. We're not talking about just the SEC, just like we said yesterday. I want to preface this conversation before the comments already start. We are operating under the assumption that the offensive line is going to be okay. Okay, it is not breaking news. It is not breaking news that you got to have good offensive line play. Every time we talk about the quarterbacks, there's about 10 comments that say it doesn't matter if the offensive line isn't good. We know that. That's not breaking news. So let's operate. When we talk about Byrum Brown, let's operate under the assumption that we're going to have an okay offensive line. And then when we talk about offensive line, we can actually talk about the offensive line. All right? So we're operating under that assumption. Top 10 quarterback on the surface, love that. Okay. Love him being in those conversations. It just, to me, solidifies my thoughts, at least preseason, on Byrum Brown. And hey, Jackson Arnold wasn't on any of these lists. Peyton Thorne wasn't on any of these lists. Just goes to show you the caliber of kid, caliber of player Auburn potentially has going into this season. So really, really good stuff. I want to kind of talk about the list because for the most part, if you just told me Byrum Brown was number 10, probably wouldn't argue that much. Okay. There's a few on this list that I think he's just better than. I think he just, when you're talking about quarterback for quarterback, I just think he's better than. I don't necessarily have a problem with CJ Carr at 1. I don't have a lot of knowledge about his game. I know he's really young, but it does seem pretty unanimous. Everybody seems to think he's one of the best quarterbacks returning. So him being number 1, those guys watch more football and they're a little bit less biased than me. So the Notre Dame quarterback going into year 2 or year 3, whatever, I don't have a problem with that. Julian Sayin, don't have a problem with that one. Trinidad Chambliss, I probably would have him number 1. I think he's unbelievable. Now, can he be unbelievable without Charlie Weiss Jr. and without Lane Kiffin? We'll see. Some people were like, oh, well, he still went on that run in the playoffs without Lane Kiffin. Yeah, but he still had Charlie Weiss Jr. He's not going to have either. He'll have some tight ends coach that peed next to Lane Kiffin in the urinal, and everybody thinks it's going to be fine as their offensive coordinator. So can he be as good? We'll see. But I would have him. I would have him number 1. I think he's the best quarterback in the country. He's unbelievable. Now, did you see where Ole Miss is appealing? I'm sorry, not Ole Miss. The NCAA is appealing this ruling to the Mississippi Supreme Court. It's like over almost 700 pages of something. You got to have some material in there for over 700 pages. So we'll see if he actually gets to play. If he plays, to me, he's number one. Arch Manning, get him out of the top 10. Not a top 10 quarterback. He's only at 4 because of his name. Have not been impressed with him whatsoever so far. He's racked up a lot on some bad opponents. I don't know that he has that signature win. And he's looked pretty pathetic multiple times. He's looked like the liability. A lot of people are talking again. A lot of people are thinking he was going to be benched after the Ohio State game. He was the issue. He had a pretty good little run there in the middle of the season, but they won games in spite of him a lot of times. So get him out of the list. I got a problem with him on the top 10 list. Jaden Maivia, baller. He's a baller. So I don't have a problem with him anywhere on the list. Don't necessarily have a problem with him in front of Byrum Brown either. He's sick. And I'm curious. I want to see USC's schedule this year. I haven't really looked at it. I don't feel like they played a ton of tough games last year, even though they're in the Big Ten. I don't know if they pick up, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan. I'm not really sure if they pick any of those teams up this year, so we'll see. Dante Moore, baller, fine with him. He's good. Drew Mestemaker, that one I'm okay with. I probably would not have him in front of Byrum Brown because I just wonder how translatable his game is and how translatable that system is. So we'll see there. I'm not going to argue over it, but he needs to be in the top 10 list for sure. I don't know if I necessarily have him in front of Byrum Brown, but he's a baller too. I'm curious to see that whole situation with them importing everybody to Oklahoma State from North Texas. Kind of a similar situation to Auburn, the Big 12 or whatever it's called now. Maybe a little bit easier road to the playoffs or road to, pathways to victory. So we'll see how that plays out. But again, I don't necessarily have a problem with him on that list. Gunnar Stockton, get him off the list. Look, here's the deal. Gunnar Stockton is John Stockton. John Stockton's sick, okay? Maybe that was a bad example. Okay, Gunnar Stockton is a really good point guard. If you have all things equal, okay, if you have all things equal and you have one drive, would you rather have Gunnar Stockton or Byrum Brown to go win the game? All things equal. We're not talking about Gunnar Stockton at Georgia, okay? We're talking about random team versus random team. And the only thing you can interchange is the quarterback, Gunnar Stockton or Byrum Brown. Who do you take? I'll tell you what, Georgia fans, if you're listening, would you rather have Gunnar Stockton or Byrum Brown next year? I don't get it, but he's good. But as far as a top 10 quarterback in the country, everything is predicated around the guys around him. He's on an elite team, and he manages an elite team, and there's a lot of value there. Not saying he's a bad quarterback, but we're talking about the best. The team makes Gunnar better than Gunnar makes the team. Brendan Sorsby, there's so much hype over Brendan Sorsby, and none of his stats at a lower level have been as impressive as Byrum Brown's, and he's going to make like $10 billion or whatever at Texas Tech. I don't know that I'd have him. I would not have him in front of Byrum Brown either. So if this was my list, I'd probably have Byrum Brown around like 7. And I think from an Auburn fan, I'm not saying he should be number 1. So I don't know. What do y'all think? What do you think about the list? I'm happy him being in the top 10 conversation in general. But based off that particular list, I'd probably have him around number 7. I'd have a couple of guys outside the top 10, inside the top 10 too, like Darian Mensah. I think he was number 11. I'd have him higher. It's good stuff. Good stuff to have a guy in those conversations, man. We're not having to sell ourselves on anything. He just kind of is what he is. All right, let's move on. We're going to talk about it's our 500th episode, man. We're going to jump into that in just a second. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to Precision Tune Auto Care in Opelika, where car care meets hospitality. They really have bought into auto hospitality, which is to me just a revolutionary idea, because you go into an auto place and you feel like you're just going to get ripped off. You feel like you're going to be lied to, and they're going to nickel and dime you over everything. This is not that. You feel trust. You feel like you're being taken care of, and you know they're being honest with you. So if you want to get your car looked at, go to Precision Tune Auto Care of Opelika. They also have a location in Alabaster that's going through the same program. So show them some love. It's Precision Tune Auto Care. Hey, and then if you need a good real estate agent in the Auburn, Opelika area, hit me up, Kyle Rush at kw.com. If you want to buy, build, or sell, I'm your guy. Or invest in some short-term rental, long-term rental properties, I can hook you up. We'll be back right after this. $500th episode of the Top Button Podcast. Done a lot more than 500 shows, but as far as Monday through Friday, the daily show, it's number 500. And it could be more. There could be some times where I was really sleepy and I maybe duplicated a number. I may have done episode 47 twice. I may have done episode 127 twice. But we're going with this being 500. And obviously I couldn't do it without everybody in the chat, all the normal regulars that are here every single day. It's awesome. And, to think that a chance meeting in a Sunday school class, Zach Blackerby joined or visited a Sunday school class that I was in, invited him to lunch, talked about message boards at lunch. And the next thing you know, he's like, man, you need to come on as a character. And that's where Charlie 5 came into play. And those weekly editions, I can remember my very first one. I don't know why. I was super nervous. Wrote down a bunch of jokes, stumbled through them, and for whatever reason, you people liked it. And it became a weekly thing, and it's been a ton of fun. And then eventually it was like, hey, I got the bug now. I got the bug, and I have a personality disorder where I can just talk to myself, laugh at myself. So let's just do this on. Let's go solo. Let's go solo with a monologue, have some fun. I can remember the very first episodes. I did not know exactly when in the day I was going to record. So I set up in my living room at night after everybody went to bed, and I'm like talking, but you can hear it too, because people text me after the first one. I'm talking and I'm passionate, but I'm passionate in a passionate whisper. Like it's like I'm trying not to make sure I'm not waking anybody up in the house. And boy, the transition from there to upstairs to now more legitimate setup with, hey, I got a mic arm right now. I got a ring light. I got all the prototypical podcast stuff. It's just it's been a really, really fun ride. I know a lot of people, I've told the story before, but a lot of people ask me about the Charlie 5 thing. It's pretty basic. Okay. So my dad's name's Charlie. So shout out, Dad. I know you're listening. And he will argue with me over this story, but this is what I'm going with, and I'm sticking to it. Okay. So in message board time, he back in like 2005 or 2006, he's been doing recruiting stuff, following recruiting back whenever you would get the Jason Caldwell Inside the Auburn Tigers magazine. Okay. You'd get it a couple times a year, and it would kind of give you the rundown on all the guys that they're looking at. I think maybe he even did there used to be a call-in line. You'd call in, and there'd be like a pre-recorded recruiting update deal. So then message boards kind of came around, and Dad's notoriously, we're going to go with thrifty. Okay, we're just going to go with thrifty. So he would create an account and he would do it January 1st and run it through signing day. Old signing day was the first Wednesday or second Wednesday in February. So you get all the notes on the official visits because you get all those official visits in January, and then it was a big deal, and then boom, signing day, and then cut it off. We're canceling the account, shutting down the credit card. We'll pick it back up next year. Now, when I tell the story, he started at Charlie, and then it was Charlie 1, Charlie 2, Charlie 3, Charlie. It's probably only 1 or 2 times where this happened, but sign up for an account, go back in the next year, forget her password. So instead of going through the whole rigmarole of forgot your password, we're just going to create a new account. But when we created a new account, the previous one was taken. So we had to bump up a number. So maybe there was already a Charlie 1, 2, or 3, and he only did it for 4 and 5. But that's the story. It's better if you start at Charlie 1 and then 4 or 5 years later, you get the Charlie 5. But regardless, that's where we landed on the Charlie 5 thing. And I remember him showing it to me when it was Charlie 5. And I was in college. I was getting in the message boards, and I was like, "Holy cow, this is fantastic! Like this is where I want to be." And he's like, "Well, I'm about to cancel it." I said, "No, don't cancel it. I'm waiting tables. I'm doing whatever, trying to make it through college. I'll pick it up. I want to pay for it. This is awesome." So I just leaned into the Charlie 5 thing, and then my brother just made a logo. Made a little, what do they call them? Like an avatar, like a little profile picture logo. Threw that in there after a couple of years. And the rest is history. So my name's not Charlie, obviously. It's Kyle Rush. My dad's name's Charlie. So if you feel like everything is a lie, I apologize. It just kind of is what it is. But that's all the history of where we came today. Now we have this channel with, I think I counted the other day, there's 6 total shows, 7 if you count the Barncast, the live shows, the live streams that we do, and we got more coming. We got a really cool show we're working on. I don't want to talk too much about it. I mentioned it on the Barncast, but we're working out the details. Could be a ton of fun for you guys, give you some unique insight, but just it's been a fun ride, and I've really, really enjoyed it. Never would have thought from doing a podcast I'd be credentialed press now at Auburn, which is just insane. Get to go to practice, get to go to games, all because of you guys. So thank you all again for listening and making this thing a thing, man. This is awesome. And I get to get on here every single day and talk to every one of you. So really, really appreciate it. Now, if you got any questions, hit me up in the comments, whatever. I'll if I left anything out about the history or you have any specific questions about the history, let me know. Let's go to JackArse of the week. From JackArse Rentals, go to jackarserentals.com, call 762-208-5013. If you live in the East Alabama area and you need to rent a skid steer, a Mini X, air compressor, demolition tools, concrete masonry machines, boom lifts, forklifts, scissor lifts. Dadgummit, if you need a lift, they got it. Doesn't matter what kind of lift. If you need to get high or get something high, boy, that could be taken in a lot of different directions. Give JackArse Rentals a call. Use coupon code BARN10 at checkout online or in person to get 10% off. Let's dive into it. The JackArse of the week is Joe Lunardi. Okay. I cannot believe Joe Lunardi actually let this quote either leave his lips or typed out. I don't exactly know where he said it. Okay. But I cannot believe he actually said this quote when talking about Bruce Pearl in the whole Miami of Ohio thing. Okay. He said Pearl would be better off leaving bracketology to the professionals. Let me take a deep breath. Joe Lunardi is telling Bruce Pearl to leave tournament talk and tournament details to the professionals. Joe Lunardi is telling a Hall of Fame coach who's played in said tournament, who's been on the bubble, who's been off the bubble, who's had his bubble bursted, who's been first 4 in, who's been last 4 in, who's been a 1 seed, who's been a 3 seed, who's been a 4 seed, who's been every freaking seed you can just about imagine, who's won a conference tournament, who's been an at-large bid, who's been everything on the damn bracket. You're going to tell him to leave it to the professionals? Bracketology is a profession. You have to, the argument from authority you just used was bracketology. Bro, you're just guessing and you're not very good at it. When you look at like, I didn't even know there was like a bracketology ranking for people. You're not even good at it. You're just the most famous one. You're like up there. You're way beyond middle of the pack. I just can't fathom the gall for a guy that fills out brackets to use an argument of authority over Bruce Pearl when talking about who should get in and who should get out of a tournament. Unbelievable. 100%. Maybe the biggest JackArse of the week. Of this series. Maybe there may not be a bigger JackArse of the week. So let me know what you think. Guys, I really appreciate it. 500th episode. You guys made it special. Thank y'all for listening. We'll be back again next week. We'll be back again Monday for 5:01. We'll have a Barncast live tomorrow night, so make sure you're there. Going to be a lot of fun. Take it easy and stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening and drive home safely.